print, some of them, and he's still being talked about. He had a great collection of magic memorabilia at the Players Club, to which I belong, in New York. And of course, he left his entire library and all his files to the Players, and they recently sold it. This is one of the more recent posters of John Calvert. John Calvert emerges as the most internationally traveled magician living today. He falls in the category of the old Professor Anderson, Wizard of the North, who trekked all over the globe, Carter, who was a great world traveler, the great Raymond, who made many world tours. John Calvert lives on his great yacht, the Magic Castle, and has sailed the 7 seas with 10 tons of apparatus in the bow, not including the years that he traveled in his own large airplane with the great company of people. I saw John Calvert in the 1940s at Lowe's State when he was breaking all records, and recently just completed a manuscript about his life. This fellow, I don't really know who that is, but I guess we can consider him a friend. This picture is one of Harding Jr., known professionally also as Douglas Joffrey. From Doug Joffrey, the Flight of Time came to me. So 4 people have performed the Flight of Time. Houdini in his show, Harding Jr., and myself. This is Al Marks. Al Marks built and arranged all of the magic for the Miss America pageant in 1966, and was also public relations director for Wheaton Glass until his retirement. He's also been very helpful in shows that we have done and done together. Andre Cole. Andre Cole is probably the premier evangelist magician of our country. He feels a great sense of witness in performing as God's magician. He is an inventor of illusions, and he does a very remarkable levitation sculptured on the theme of the mystics seated in the yoga position and rising in the air. You're going to see many things down here. It's kind of a mixture of things. Magic is unusual. It doesn't really, I don't think, look very good when it's stored, but it's kind of visually interesting. Magic is wonderful when it is set, when it's on the stage, when something happens. Magic is interesting. But by itself, it is not anything that can make itself do itself. It needs a magician. I am reminded that when the archaeologist Carter entered the tomb of King Tut and was sponsored by Lord Carnarvon of Wales, that when he peered in upon the treasures for the first time, Lord Carnarvon asked Carter, "What do you see?" And he said, "Wonderful thing. I am going to bring back to you from the Valley of the Kings the prophetess of Egypt." The outer sarcophagus, the inner chamber. Awake. Magic has been a wonderful hobby for me, and I've treated it that way. It's really an avocation in a way. It's something that pleases me because you can please other people with it. One does not have to think of themselves as a great magician. One can do the best they can and center their efforts upon the general audience, the laymen, the people who come. They are the ones that really are the best barometer for a magic show. You may not think you're good, and yet you'll find that people will enjoy what you do. Unless you are a true professional, perfection is very hard to achieve publicly. So one can approach it as a sense of fun and a sense of enjoyment, and that has been my approach through the years. These are just some magic books, some magazines that pile up through the years, odds and ends that a magician uses, but then again may never use. One must have things to keep things in, and of course silks and all the paraphernalia that a magician enjoys each have their place. This is a hat, and let me not surprise you by saying there's absolutely nothing in it and nothing will come out of it. Just a hat. Here is a very interesting, what I call a spook show item. This is a buzzsaw that literally attempts to cut the center section out of a human arm, and then that center section is removed and shown to the audience by the mad doctor. Some people have called this little getaway down here Bill's Playroom. Others have called it kind of a carnival. But the point is, one can come down and make things happen and really rather enjoy oneself down here. But of course, that's another story. Over here we have the remains of some of our show. My show is an experiment in friendship because we use friends who get together and enjoy doing this. We don't do it to make money. We don't do it to make a living. We do it for our own amusement and enjoyment. And so it takes a bit of rehearsal and a bit of organization. And we did something recently on October 25th, 1985, at the Scottish Rite Consistory, which was geared to a great Masonic audience of over 900 people. And these individuals merely enjoyed an evening of magic for the purpose of enjoyment. And cases, and over here we have a very interesting illusion, which is a series of blades that are put down through a box in which a person is ceremoniously and very quickly divided into almost 30 parts, and it seems impossible that anyone could possibly be in this casket box. Hugo Zacchini shot out of a cannon. It occurred to me, if you can shoot a man out of a cannon, why couldn't you shoot a bunny rabbit out of a cannon? Although it's not a new thing, women have been shot out of cannons into boxes hanging from the ceiling of the theater. But this is our cannon that we use, and it's a little vignette I call Robert the Rocket Rabbit. And we borrow a ring from someone in the audience. The ring disappears. And then we send the lady back to her seat with the idea that the ring is gone, and we're going on to something else. And we introduce Robert the Rocket Rabbit. And we put the bunny rabbit in the cannon, we touch off the fuse, and the cannon goes off with a loud bang and a puff of smoke. And of course, then we proceed to a nest of boxes, which is on a stand on the other side of the stage. And we open it, and inside's another box, another box, and another box, and inside of that is Robert the Rocket Rabbit with the ring.
Hold your ears. Watch it. Stand back a bit. We're going to see if something happens here. Did you see him go? You didn't. He didn't go. He's not here. I don't think he's here. In fact, I'm going to try to show you he isn't here. Not there. Did you see him go through the air? He flew right in front of us. And you know, sitting here, since you came into the theater, ladies and gentlemen, has been a padlocked mystery chest. And I want to show it to you. It has 4 sides, and a top and a bottom. And you, Abe, over here, you have the key to the mystery. Now, you just stand right here. May I have the key? Thank you very much. Let's take a look and see what's inside that box. There's the key. There's the padlock. And look, it works. You hold the key. There we go. And I'm going to open it. Oh my gosh. It seems to me that there's another box in there. Let's open that. Well, what do you know, Ann? There's another box. I'm going to open that. What do we have in this box? We have another box. And it has 4 sides at the top, and it's locked, my dear. May I have the key? And will you hold the box for a moment? I'm going to see if there's another key. Look, there's one here, my dear. Let's just open that and take a look. See what we have. What do we have here? Could it be possible that it is Robert, the Rocket Rabbit? I think it is. Robert has something for you. Mark, will you come here again, please? We have a little something for you. You know what it is? It's your beloved ring. It's not harmed in any way. I want you to look at it. I want you to remove it. I want you to place it upon your finger. And I want you to be happy.
One of the things that we've enjoyed doing with young people. Here is what we call a bowl of water production. Under this cloth we have a Hindu basket. The girl gets in the basket. The swords are put through the young lady, and of course, naturally, she comes out unharmed. These are some of the crates for our cremation illusion. Lest this chair seem presumptuous, I must remind myself that often when we've done things, there's no place to sit down. And so this is a good thing to have, because you know that you'll always have a seat. Now I'm going to say the magic words. Hiram Abiff. It's very easy not only to have a chair, but to create a situation where you just suddenly appear in it. Although really I was kidding you. That's just a little bit of trick photography, which I don't think is very good for magic. I think that we can push too much on the public. I think that magic should be performed in person, for real, and without any camera tricks whatsoever. Speaking of tricks, here's a little something here that's a very nice and old item. Of course, the tossels go through from one top of the stick down through the bottom of the stick. This is a tossel, and this is a tissel, and if you pull the tissel, the tossel goes up, and you could go on doing this all night. Pull down the tissel, and the tossel goes up. Of course, the same thing is true for the tissel as it is for the tossel. They both go through the front of the bamboo rods or wands. Most people think they run down through the back and up through the front, so that when you pull down the tossel, the tissel goes up. But that isn't necessarily true. It is possible to pull down the tissel and have the tossel go up, put them together, and do exactly the same thing and keep that up. Although sometimes things happen whereby you have the tossel and the tissel down, and in that case, you just take a little bit of invisible thread, you wrap it around the two rings, and you make them come up like that. Of course, they're entirely separate. But that's a little bit of magic. Although I'm an Episcopal clergyman, and I have a parish of some 360 or 70 families, I have never performed gospel magic. I do not feel that you can teach eternal truths by using fakery to do so. There may be some little unusual entertainment value in it to make some point, but there are gospel magicians, but it has never impressed me that much. I've pretty much separated my interest in stage magic from my functions as a rector. Although my people, most of them know that I am interested in these things, and they have enjoyed it with me. These are two of our lobby boards that we have used. It's very important to show something to help bring the people in, or give them a feeling that they're going to see something. We've always referred to the show as Rauscher's Magical Wonders. And of course, see the Haunted Mansion, which the young lady eventually comes out of as a spirit in a spirit covering, a cloth, in which things happen in the house that are spooky. The Nest of Boxes, the Magic Chef, the Austrian Plumes, ESP or ESD, apparently. A little example of extrasensory deception. Robert the Rocket Rabbit, A Florist's Dream, The Last Illusion invented by Houdini, The Flight of Time. And again, another one of our lobby boards. Some of our things in storage, some of our illusions. The main unit of The Flight of Time, which says, handle with care, Harding Jr., a Houdini presentation. Of course, this is the hoop for the floating lady, and this is what we pass around the beautiful young girl who levitates in the air. I always take this forward and I say to the audience, Madam, do you see the opening in this ring? And she'll say no, and I'll say, well, there it is right there. by my friend Mars in Florida. And of course, as I mentioned, the Flight of Time. This is a beautiful item called the Minion Cabinet. This was built by Al Marx, whom I consider a wonderful fabricator of magical apparatus. House. Here is a take-apart box and table that vanishes a chicken, which is seen in the front before it disappears. Over here is something we call the rod through the body, and a steel rod is, of course, pushed through apparently through the body of the young lady. And of course, water is poured in this end, and it comes out this end. Unfortunately, but for fun, girls seem to suffer terribly in magic shows. Although there have been magic shows where the men have gotten the business also. But this is a very unusual illusion. It was done for many years by Willard the Wizard and quite a few others. Back here we have a number of cases, and of course we have our costumes and so on. Now, we have just a little sample of something we've done with my people, and this took place in West Collingswood. Not every show is perfect, and when a show is videotaped, of course, there's no way to really plan because it takes place live. This one took place October 25th. I had not done a show for about a year and 8 months or so. So this was my first large show, although I'd done a small little performance. We don't do it very often, but when we do it, we like to do magic in what we think is kind of the grand tradition of a magic show. So what you're going to see now is just a little sample of something we try to do. Goodbye.
It will not have to be looked at. It's gone. You weren't.
person gets started in magic? Well, in my particular case, I saw a magician in grammar school named Ed Patterson. And as I watched him one afternoon, he had a little silver box. And he opened the back door, the front door, the top door, closed, turned it around, opened the top door, reached in, and pulled out a very beautiful handkerchief. I was so impressed with him. And my grandfather was interested in magic, or at least talked about it a great deal. And he took me to a magic shop in New York City. And the proprietor was Stuart Robeson, the conjurer's shop. And I looked through that opalescent glass and I saw an image of all those boxes and magical apparatus, and it fascinated me. And I said to the proprietor, Mr. Robeson, who was very kind, I said, do you have that trick where you take a little silver box and you open all the doors, close them, turn it around, reach in, and pull out a very beautiful handkerchief? He said, oh, I know the trick you mean. The trick where you take a little silver box and you open the front door and the back door and the top door and you turn it around and you reach in and you pull out a very, very nice handkerchief. I said, that's the trick I mean, Mr. Robeson. The trick where you take a little silver box and you open all the doors and you put through your fingers and you close them and you turn it around and you open the top door and you reach in and you extract a beautiful handkerchief. He said, well, we don't have that trick, young man. So you see,